Is your gecko scratching at the glass? Is it driving you crazy? We'll keep watching and find out why. So recently I have been asked quite a bit why people's geckos are scratching at the glass, and what I always find really interesting is certain times of the year you have the same sort of questions by worried keepers. Now, this is a topic I've covered in the past quite a few times over the years, but I have so many videos it can be hard to find them and they kind of get lost in everything. So every now and again I like to just do a refresher video, and also in the past I've kind of gone more into detail why females do it rather than males. So today I'm going to break down both, and I will leave helpful links to videos along with the female leopard gecko playlist, because there are some sort of female specific issues or behaviours you may notice, and that can be really helpful if you do have a female leopard gecko. But for the purpose of this video, I will briefly explain why you may notice your female leopard gecko doing this, and then I'll move on to the males. So, between about February and June or July is kind of breeding season, and so you may notice your female leopard gecko could go off food, they may be quite restless, digging a lot, scratching at the glass. If you don't provide loose substrate, I would at least recommend using a dig box, because if your female leopard gecko happens to lay eggs, and these can be infertile if she hasn't been bred with, or fertile if she has been bred with, she's going to want to lay them somewhere. Now, leopard geckos will lay eggs in bizarre places. I think it was last year, Minnie laid one up on her rock background. That is also where she goes to the toilet. So part of me thinks she went up there because she was like, I need to go, and something else popped out. So, I would recommend, though, to have that loose substrate, so at least they can dig, get out that energy, get out that frustration, that restlessness, and if they're going to lay an egg, it's really helpful too. So that behaviour also involves scratching at the glass. I will get onto what you can do about this behaviour in a moment, but that's generally what happens with female leopard geckos, but as I said, I will leave links below so you can explore this subject even more. Now, for males, I have actually, for this year, I've had more people ask me about their male leopard geckos, why they're doing this rather than their females. So, from what I've read about wild leopard geckos and from my observations, in the wild, a male will kind of have its own territory with a few females in it, okay? So a bit of a harem. And you have to imagine that over breeding season, not only does he have to woo these females and he has to breed with these females, but he also has to defend his territory. So that will require more energy, probably more testosterone, and I imagine that is why we see this boost of energy in our male geckos. Now, these are just the successful ones, already have their territory. If they need to establish their territory in the wild, like our geckos don't have all these females they can breed with, they don't have this massive territory, then they would almost definitely be roaming around, definitely trying to impress females, definitely fighting with other males, and they'll need that like more energy. So in my eyes, I think that's why we see this sudden burst. It can also be to do with temperature. A lot of things that rely on outside source of heating, you'll notice everything will kind of ramp up when it's warmer. So say you have waxworms, for example, you'll notice that all pupate so much quicker in warm weather than cold weather. And reptiles will get more energy with warmer weather, hence why we have to give them heaters to actually function properly. Now, what I have noticed is throughout the year with my geckos anyway, with Maui and Diego, they're always kind of at the door in the evening. Not scratching, but they like to sort of wait there, or if I go up to the door, they'll come walking up to me, which is really sweet. It's a little bond we have. I haven't noticed them scratching at the glass relentlessly like they used to, like when I was in my old room before I had Maui, and neither of my females do it really anymore. So Gizmo, I'm pretty sure she's gone through the gecko equivalent to the menopause, because this year she has had great consistent weights, she hasn't gone off her food, she hasn't been restless, she hasn't been digging. She's going to be 17 this year, so she is an older lady. but I haven't had the problem with her, so I think that's to do with her age. Minnie has lost a little bit of weight. She occasionally refuses food. There is a potential for an infertile egg to be laid, but it hasn't been that extreme. So though she will sit by her window when her eye is stuck, because I can come along with a little bit of saline, I rub it, it opens up. She actually just does this all year round. If she gets a stuck eye, she knows I can relieve it. She hasn't been scratching at the glass either. So I have a few theories as to why this is. Number one, as I said, age. The females aren't really ovulating like they used to. Two, they are in bigger tanks now. So back when I was living at home and they lived in my bedroom, they were in smaller tanks. They're in 2 foot long tanks. They're now in 3 foot long tanks. Three, I used to share a bedroom with them. So in the evening, I would have the light on or have the TV on. And this could sort of maybe encourage them to want to come out, I guess, because they're like, what's going on? And number four, when it gets really warm here, I use an aircon unit. And I think that helps lower the cool side's temperature. So the whole tank isn't super hot. And I've often wondered, when it is quite hot in the summer, the difference between the hot end and the cool end may not be as obviously different anymore, if you get what I mean. So the whole tank could be very warm and your gecko could be like, this is too hot, I need to get out, I need to cool down. I don't know if that's even true or something they would do, but I have noticed since I'm using aircon and there is a very distinct cooler side to the tank, I haven't had this behaviour so much. So there are a few things I've noticed. Now, some people have tanks where the hot end, they have a thermometer on it and it's the perfect temperature. The cool end is nice and cool. The tank is big. Lots of places to climb, lots of places to hide. And the gecko is still doing it. And all I can imagine at that point is they just have a lot of energy. So what can you do? So the first one is handle them each evening, let them climb on you, let them walk about. Obviously, you can't do this all the time, and what I've discovered in the past is you can keep doing it, and they almost keep expecting it, and it gets a little bit like, oh my god, you need to like settle now, like I already had you out this evening, you need to settle. And in the past, I have had moments where I've put a bit of card over the window, because I'm like, do they not understand there's glass there? But in all my years of keeping leopard geckos, I can only recommend these things. If the tank's not good, if the tank's too small, not very interested, nowhere to climb, maybe consider upgrading. Make sure there is a difference between the hot end and the cool end. Even if you can't have an aircon unit, maybe a little fan in the room just to cool the air a little bit. You can even get a USB mini fan to put on top, and that also helps just the air like circulate and not get stagnant. And it also, you know, keeps that end cool. The part where the female may be ovulating, you can't really do much about that. Just keep an eye on her, make sure she's healthy and doing well, but provide maybe some loose substrate for her to dig. You can exercise them, you can ignore them. If you have any other suggestions though, feel free to leave them in the comments below, because I kind of like the comment section to be almost like a forum of helpful answers for fellow keepers. So if you do have some, let me know in the comments below. I hope this has cleared things up. If you do have really good tanks, lots of things, lots of spaces to hide and all of that, then don't feel like you're a bad keeper or anything, just they have a lot of energy this time of year. But anyway, I hope this video has helped. If you haven't already, please subscribe. But thank you for watching and goodbye.